my name's Paul Grogan and welcome to another Gaming Rules Quick and Dirty review. In this video I'm going to be telling you what I think about London 2nd edition, which is designed by Martin Wallace, published by Osprey Games in 2017, and is the 2nd edition of the original game London, which is on the wall back there, which was originally published by Tree Frog Games in 2010. Now, London is one of the games that was voted on by my Patreon supporters as a game that I would review this month. So if you enjoy my content and you want to be involved in any future votes, then please consider supporting me over at patreon.com/gaming rules. On with the review. Now, original game, London 1st edition, I really didn't like. I liked it when it first came out and I liked it the first few times I played it, but then I found that it was completely flawed, totally broken, and I really disliked the game. So why am I playing this game? Well, I'd been told that the main reasons why I didn't like the 1st edition of the game have been fixed in the 2nd edition, which is always interesting to read because, of course, you know, at the time where I was saying, oh, the game's terrible and it's broken, and people were saying, oh, no, it's not, the game's fantastic. Well, they've changed it for the 2nd edition, so maybe it was a bit broken. Every game's going to always have its fans, and there'll be people out there who still prefer the 1st edition to this 2nd edition. Overall, I liked the 2nd edition more than the 1st edition, and some of the problems that the 1st edition had, in my opinion, have been removed, but I believe that the 2nd edition still has some of those same issues. So let's go into detail about what I think about the game. First of all, thematically, what you're trying to do is rebuild the city of London after the Great Fire of 1666. So the cards will be coffee houses, Bank of England, monuments, going all the way through to building the underground. So it takes place over, quite a long period of time. It's a card-driven game, and apart from some thematic connections between some of the card effects and what they do, other than that, I didn't feel that the theme came through at all in the game. I didn't feel like I was rebuilding London. I just felt that I was playing the mechanisms of the game, playing cards which cost money, which got points and did stuff, and it's points that win the game at the end of the day. So yeah, although the artwork is nice and it sort of, has that London feel to it, I didn't really feel that the game mechanisms supported the actual theme itself. So speaking of the game mechanisms, very quick summary, it's a card-driven game. There is a central board, but that is just where you put the cards. You will have a hand of cards, and one of the things you can do on your turn is you can play cards into your display. And every time you play a card, for example, this one is a brown card, if I wanted to play that, I would have to discard from my hand a card of the same colour. Okay? So therefore you need, generally speaking, 2 cards to play one of them. When you discard a card, it goes to the central display here. You always fill the top row first, then you fill the bottom row. Anytime it's full, you will get rid of the cards on the bottom row. And whenever you draw cards in this game, and there's many ways to draw cards, you can draw from the pile or you can draw from the display. So I suppose there is an element of, oh, well, this card's really good for another player, so I'm not going to play it because then they'll pick it up. I've played this game 4 times now and I didn't really see that happening. I was just playing the cards that I wanted to play and discarding the ones that I didn't want, really. But there is an element of that. Now, what's interesting about the game is the stack system. You can have as many stacks as you want. The more stacks you've got, the better, because you will be able to activate more effects every time you run your city, so that's efficient. But the more stacks you have, the more of this poverty that you'll produce, and that poverty is bad. So yeah, that's a bit of an interesting mechanism. It's probably the only one really that I found interesting in the game. You generally want between 5 and 8 stacks. Any more than that, your poverty will get out of control, and any fewer than that, and you just won't have enough to be able to do very much. Now, one of the big changes from the original game is the original game had a map, and one of the actions you could do was to buy a borough on that map. That map has gone and has been replaced by the borough cards, and there's always 3 available for purchase, and they do almost the same as what they do in the 1st edition of the game. They cost money, they give you cards, and they give you points. Some of them have an ability on them, but in the original version of the game, when you ran your city, you produced 1 poverty for every stack you had, and you produced 1 fewer poverty for every borough you had. So the broken strategy was you just buy lots of boroughs early on, take lots of loans, buy lots of boroughs, and then when you run your city, you're not generating much poverty. In the new version of the game, that's been fixed. You can't do that anymore because the boroughs now, when you buy them, have a one-off immediate effect of losing a certain amount of poverty, and that's it. So that broken strategy of the original game, which meant that if you wanted to win, you had to do it, and everybody just did it, so it was boring because it was just down to the cards that you drew. That's gone now. You actually do have a bit more choice in the game. Now, the other big thing about the game that's different is the production quality. This is Osprey Games. Osprey Games do really good production quality, and this is no exception. The cards, they're really thick. These are definitely thicker than normal card stock. They're really good. I like the artwork. I like the graphic design. It's all very clear. A couple of the icons are a tiny little bit small, and the paying money is a dark brown circle and gaining money is a light brown circle. Other than that, it was really good. It was really clear and it looked really nice. The rulebook, another good job from Osprey Games. I don't know who those their rulebooks, but you know, lots of pictures. It was a pleasure to read and it was all very clear. Had no problems with that whatsoever. The money's good compared to the original rubbishy tiddlywink tokens from the original game. So yeah, overall, production quality of the new game, very good. Even the box is really nice. It's this nice, it opens out. It's really good, and it's got an insert, which is actually a good insert. Things don't fall around all over the place like they normally do when you're transporting a game. So yeah, production-wise, all very good. Did I enjoy playing the game? I've enjoyed playing the new version of the game because I wanted to see what was different. Having now played it 4 times, I don't really have any interest in playing it again. Some of the same problems that I felt the original game had, this one still has, and at the end of the day, I just didn't find it that interesting. I didn't find the choices that I had that interesting. I felt it was just, oh, I've got these cards. Oh, I'll just pick up some more cards. Oh, I'll play these cards. I'll then run them. And that was it. You know, there's good combos. West India Docks and the Hospital is a good combo. If you get it. If you don't get it, you don't get it. And whilst you can pick up cards from this display here, I didn't feel that I was, you know, fully in control of what I wanted to do. I just did the best I could with the cards that I had. Now, that could be because I'm not massively experienced with the game, I don't know. But yeah, I felt that the game didn't have enough choices in there for me to play. It does play relatively quickly. Interestingly, the playtime will be the same. It's 2 to 4 players, and the playtime will be probably the same, no matter how many players you've got, because you have the deck of cards, and you use the entire deck of cards every time you play. So, in a 2-player game, the 2 of you will be going through those cards, and in a 4-player game, you will probably have half the number of turns. So the dynamics between the 2, 3 and 4-player game will be different, I think, on how many turns you have. And in a 2-player game, you'll have twice as many turns probably as you do in a 4-player game. And that does change the dynamics of the game because the economy changes as the cards are basically seeded A, B and C. And there's a lot of the A cards which generate money, which you need early on in the game to try and avoid taking loans. So what else did I find about the game that I felt was a problem, which I also felt was a problem in the original version of the game? And that is a couple of things. The first one, everything is just points. So you have money, you have points, and you have poverty in this game. Let's talk about the points. The points are obviously points. Right, easy, move on. The next one is money. Money is just points. Because you need money to buy the cards, okay? And some cards get you money and some cards cost you money, okay? And it is a currency in the game. But you can always take a loan and you get £10 and you have to pay it back. And if you don't pay it back, you lose points. So if you take a loan for £10, that will give you the money to be able to do something, but then you have to pay it back for 15. So it's effectively cost you £5. And at the end of the game, every £3 converts to 1 point. So essentially what you're doing is saying, take a loan, it's going to cost you 1 2/3 of a point. And if you don't pay it back, it's going to cost you a few extra points. So money is really just points. Poverty. It's an interesting mechanic. You gain poverty based on how many stacks you've got when you run your city, and it's something that you need to try and manage and try to get rid of, and there are certain cards that get rid of it. But if you don't get rid of it, it does absolutely nothing at all during the game, and at the end of the game, just loses your points. That's it. So effectively, if a card says gains 2 money, gains 2 points, and loses a poverty, you can mathematically work out exactly what that means in terms of points. The money is effectively just points, the poverty is effectively just points, and the points are points. So what looks like interesting effects on cards actually isn't really, I didn't feel. Some of the cards are also a bit boring. There's the Jewish refugees that turn up later on which say, play this card to draw 2 cards. It's just a bit boring. The other problem I had with the game is that some of the cards are imbalanced. Now, I totally get the argument that, oh, if every card was completely balanced, it would be boring. I don't subscribe to that train of thought. I want to see cards that are balanced. I don't want to see a card which is just simply better than another card. Now, in this game, you have certain cards that are worth 4. The brown cards in the A deck, some of them are worth 4, some of them are worth 5. I can live with that. That's a slight difference, and that's okay with me. But there's a card called Covent Garden that gets you 5 and 2 points. So it's just strictly better with no downside whatsoever. It doesn't cost any money to play. It doesn't have any downside whatsoever. And there's only one of them in the game. So effectively, and this might sound odd, but effectively that card is basically saying, at the start of the game, choose a random player, that player gets 2 points. That's what you're saying, because if you are lucky enough to draw that card, you'll play it and you'll get 2 points over the people that weren't lucky enough to draw it, and that's it. And that's really weird. You know, if that card it was worth less money, or it cost money to build, because it's Covent Garden, it should cost money to build. You know, cost 2 to build, but gets you 5 and 2, something like that. But it's just weird. So those problems, and the fact that I didn't really find the choices that interesting, in the end I didn't find the card play that engaging or interesting, means that this is not a game that I'm going to go out of my way to play again. And that's about everything. I've probably missed a couple of things as normal, but I wanted to try and keep this review fairly short. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as mentioned at the start, if you want to support me and the other content that I create, then please consider supporting me over at patreon.com/gaming rules. And if you have your own thoughts of this game, I know many people love this game, and I know I'm going to come in for a lot of criticism about this game, because some people think this game is fantastic and the card play is interesting and the card play is exciting, and that's great. If you enjoy the game, that's great. It's not really for me, but you know, not every game can be. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. Until next time, take care, and thanks for watching. Gaming Rules is proudly sponsored by Game Toppers, upgrading your gaming experience. Visit GameToppersLLC.com.